Hi, so I'm Frannie. I've literally just finished my master's degree at Bath Spa University, where I did commercial music. So that's like music industry music. So we studied like songwriting, music business, studio engineering, production, performance, just kind of all the areas of that, and then kind of go down our individual paths from that point. So the path I've kind of gone down is more the writing, production, artist path. So I tend to start writing songs on the piano. I play keys and I also sing. So I'll generally start with just chords or something on a piano and write like a melody from there. And then from that point, when I've got a rough idea of a couple of lines, I'll then go into Logic, which is this. So generally, I write kind of pop music, and I write for mainly myself, but also for other people. Sometimes I'll be given a brief to write to. This is generally like a few bullet points describing the kind of vibe and feel of the song that they want. Then they give like a list of references of different artists and songs to listen to and try and build a track to be similar to. So this is my next single, just to show you what a Logic project looks like, what I do. So this is kind of the work area. If you go into here, you basically have a little mixing desk where you can also sort out the levels. You've got the panning, which is what ear the sound comes out of, whether it's left or right or in the center. That can be nice to give a good stereo image to the music, which can make it feel a lot broader. These are the different effects channels. So there's things like EQ, which looks like this, which basically just pinpoints certain frequencies in the sound. And then you can choose to basically just take them out or boost them. There's things like compression. This is all quite nitty gritty, but basically that just makes the loud bits quiet and the quiet bits loud. A lot of commercial radio music is highly compressed. Generally, a lot of classical music isn't compressed because it's more dynamic. Different noise gates. What that means is that it can cut out a lot of the background noise. So it means that the vocal or the sound, whatever you want, will only kick in when it gets to a certain loudness. Or if you're recording in quite a noisy room, that can be good to get rid of all that background unnecessary noise. So these blue channels are audio channels. I mainly use them for vocals, but I used to record like guitar and drums and stuff as audio files. Now I tend to program all of that as MIDI. That's these files. So basically I'll play them in on a keyboard and they then turn into these little squares. So as you can see, this is like the keys, and these will tell you what the notes are. You can change the length, you can change the velocity, so how hard you hit it. You can change the quantizing, which basically means that if you select the notes and quantize them, which is the letter Q, you can choose how in time they are. You can choose whether they're swung in triplets. Like there's a lot of scope for creativity and all these things. There's a lot more detailed stuff you can use, but this is just kind of the basic broad things. So if you select an instrument channel, for example, there's a little blue box over here in this channel that is the instrument channel. And this is where you choose the sound of the instrument that you want. So there's a lot of Logic presets that comes with it, but I also like to buy my own plugins, as they're called. So this, for example, is a plugin that I bought called Nexus, which is really nice for like pop and dance music. And in this alone, it's got literally thousands and thousands of Nego presets, almost 3,000 different sounds in this one plugin, which is really great. So this is a song that is going to be my next single. So I wouldn't really call myself a producer much. Before I got to uni, I had never done any production at all. Like literally had never, I don't think I even owned Logic. So I really started from scratch about 4 years ago. So from that point, I've kind of tried to actively get a lot better at it. So I now kind of produce songs up to a rough demo standard and will then send this kind of demo version off to an actual producer if I need to release it. But generally when pitching songs to other people, it only really needs to be a demo because they'll kind of tweak bits and rewrite bits that they want to change, etc., and kind of play around with the production a bit depending on what the artist's sound is. So this is an example of my kind of standard of demo production.
I wanna be fearless, wanna step over the edge with no worry of the depth that I'm falling. Maybe I'm careless, it's good to free my mind of concerns, to waste my time and put my all. I wanna be, I wanna be fearless.
Which is like a decent enough standard. Like, you can hear all the different signposts for the production, the different kind of parts that I've written. But then from kind of that point, I'll then give it to a producer to kind of neaten up and add like embellishments and little details to, and just kind of tighten up the mix a lot. So this over here is the finished version of the song.
I wanna be fearless, wanna step over the edge with no worry of the depth that I'm falling. Maybe I'm careless, it's good to free my mind of concerns, to waste my time and put my all in. I wanna be, I wanna be fearless. I wanna be, I wanna be fearless.
So as you can already hear, like, it sounds a lot slicker and cleaner, and the vocal sounds a lot more prominent in the track. All of the kind of messy EQ and frequencies that kind of blur and make the sound a bit muddy have all kind of been tightened up. And it's all those kind of details that really kind of set a track up to kind of commercial standard. So if any of you are kind of wanting to go down this kind of route, I'd say probably the most important thing that you'd want to focus on is the production quality of your music. Because at the end of the day, people are going to be listening to your music in like comparison to all the other music they're listening to. So they're going to listen to it on a playlist or on the radio where it's back to back with other like professional standard songs. So you want it to compete with all the other music that's being played. So that's going to be the main thing, especially like from what I found over the last couple of years releasing music. That has always been the main thing that people have like commented on that I need to like improve at, for example, in songs. So even if you don't really want to be a producer but you want to release music, I would say that it's definitely important to at least just get a basic understanding of production and logic, so that when people send you back finished demos, finished tracks, you can listen to them and understand when like they need more reverb on some parts. Like, does the snare need more reverb? Does the drums sit okay in the track? Like, just to understand how everything sits, so you can actually like have the best possible track and give the best possible feedback when people give you back your songs. Yeah, so I'd say that's pretty important. Now I'm going to talk a bit about more of the actual practical side around actually releasing stuff. Right, let me get on to that. Right, okay, so when it comes to actually releasing your music and trying to get it on streaming services, there's loads of super easy ways that you can do that. So there's loads of different distributors that you can use. That's things like TuneCore, AWOL, CD Baby. There's honestly loads. I use DistroKid just because this one basically allows you, when you register a song, you can then basically put in straight away the writing splits between you and other people that you've written with, which means that it will then just automatically split up the royalties as you get paid them, rather than you having to then manually do that afterwards, which I just find a lot easier. So here's like some of the songs that I've uploaded onto DistroKid. It's super easy to upload stuff. So if you want to upload a song, you don't have to just select all the different services, just put your artist name, set release date. You can set a pre-order date if you want, upload your artwork, just put what genre it is, the title, and that's pretty much it. Then you just have to press done. And DistroKid is it's like a yearly paid service. So you pay like I think something like £15 a year or something, and you can upload unlimited music. Whereas other sites like TuneCore, for example, it's like a set payment for everything that you upload. So a single is like £5, an album's £30, which is fine as well. It depends how basically how you want to do it, what works best for you and your kind of music, I guess. and how often you'll be releasing also is something to take into account. I'm trying to release more often, so more of a subscription service is like a bit easier for me. It also means that every time a new music like streaming service is like comes out or is created, it will instantly upload my music onto that new service without me having to do anything, which is really helpful. Yes, that's something you might want to consider if you want to release your own music. Another thing that's important to look at is your stats. So this is Spotify for artists. You can see where all the different streams are coming from. You get really detailed like stats on your audience and where they're from. You also get even like down to the city that people are listening to you in, which makes it really useful for stuff like ads and like promotional campaigns in the future, because then you know exactly where is best to target and where people are most enjoying your music. It takes like a few songs to release to kind of get good enough stats to start really going and targeting your right audience, but it's definitely something to just kind of keep going. You just got to keep releasing stuff to really make the most out of it. So in terms of all the boring stuff, it is really important to understand a bit about PRS. Basically, when it comes to releasing music, there are different rights. So there's basically 3 areas that this falls into. So there's the rights for the actual sound recording of the song. So the sound recording and the actual written notation writing of the song are 2 different areas. When it comes to the actual sound recording, that's kind of the royalties for that are sorted out by PPL. So if you're a performer and you've performed on someone else's song, that would be where you'd get the royalties from in that case. Whereas PRS and then MCPS are for songwriters rather than the performers on the track. I mean, for me, that's both, because obviously I perform and write, but it depends if you're writing for other people, if you're writing for a band, etc., stuff like that. So PRS is the performer's rights. So what that basically means is when your song is played, like either at a gig or on the radio, you'll get money from those performances, which is really good. And the mechanical rights, which is MCPS, is basically that when like a digital, like when your song is bought or streamed, you get writer's rights for that. So there's lots of different ways for you to make money from writing and music. You've just got to make sure that you're signed up to the right places that will give you all the royalties that you need. That's just an important thing to keep in mind if it's something you want to do, because otherwise all you're going to do is miss out on your own money. It's like a one-time payment, I think, PRS. I think you just pay upfront like £100 and then you're sorted for life, which is all right. Yep. Okay. So the final thing I kind of guess, if you want to go down the artist route, that's important is branding. So you want to kind of, basically, as like soul crushing it as it is, if you want to be an artist, you have to treat yourself as a brand. Like you're selling your music. It's the same as if you were like selling soap or like a physical product. Like you have to treat it exactly the same. So all your branding has to be cohesive and go together. Every single wants to have a strong narrative that you can then talk about in interviews. All these kind of things are important to remember if you want to go down the artist route. The visual side of it is just as important as the music side of it, because people want like a cohesive thing to look at and listen to, like a full product. So another thing that I've kind of taken into my own control is the whole visual side of my artist kind of profile. So I've worked with like video editors before, and I worked with people that have done lyric videos for me before. But I kind of wanted to try something a bit more engaging for my last single. So I made this lyric video myself, and just kept it all on brand and on theme with the artwork and stuff for the song. So the font is the same as on the album cover, and like the logo of the song, there's a certain kind of face which I put in the drop just to try and keep all of it as on brand as possible. And the only kind of colors involved in this song are black, white and blue, which I've also kept in the lyric video. Just kind of like, you want to think about the details when you're releasing stuff. It's just good to keep at the front of your mind. So I'll play a bit of this just so you can see.
You tell me falling's alright, though it hurts. The further down you go, the stronger you rise. You talk of healing despite the fact that I can see the cracks in the blacks of your eyes. You don't practice what you preach now, and I can see you need to reach out. Whether you know it or not, it's a long shot, but I want you to let me share your darkness. Show me why you wear armored skin. Is it your way to keep out all that harms us, or are you trying to lock the monsters in?
Yeah, so I basically just made that myself using After Effects, which is an Adobe software, and just YouTube tutorials. That's kind of all I used. Just sat down and kind of taught myself how to use it all. I did the same thing with Photoshop, Premiere Pro, like all the kind of tools are out there for you to access. So if you kind of want to go down this route, it's all really doable and there for you. It's just kind of about going with it and sticking with it. Yeah, I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions, you can like message me on like Facebook or anything, just if you're interested in this kind of thing. Yeah.